Welcome back to A Sound of Crying, an audio book of a forgotten book found at a giveaway. Title picture. Today I decided I was going to read outside. It's a gorgeous morning and I'm at Prince Charles Park and that's the way we do. Oh my gosh, I'm rocking 2 pairs of sunglasses apparently. Okay, so in the last chapter we left off with Polly having a really weird dream about a girl named Sarah, and she went to go live with her uncle. The uncle had issues with her mom, Sarah's mom, but we don't quite know why. We know that there's a weird dog that she's pretty paranoid of, and now we're gonna find out what Polly thinks of the dream she just had. So, chapter 3, Polly begins a story. Gradually her head cleared. What an odd dream it had been. Almost a nightmare. She lay recalling its details. They were all quite clear in her memory. The way this room had looked, for instance, with bare boards and no furniture except a black iron bedstead and a scrubbed wooden chest of drawers. And the appearance of Sarah's uncle, with his black beard and his dreary old-fashioned clothes. Her dreams had never been set in the past before. "That poor girl," she said aloud. "I am glad I'm not really her." And for a moment, Sarah's grief for her mother was real and poignant again inside of her, leaving her very cold. "Mother," she thought in panic, "what if Mother dies?" "I expect Mother will be better soon," she remarked casually at breakfast to nobody in particular. "I'm sure she will," said Uncle Clement. "After a good rest, she'll be a different person." "I want her to be the same person," growled Hugh. After breakfast, Auntie Sylvia asked Polly and Frederick to do the dishes. Polly looked around the kitchen with new interest. In her dream, the gas stove hadn't been there, just the old-fashioned built-in range. "Do you ever cook on that?" she asked, pointing to it. "Heavens, no," said Frederick. "Sometimes we light the fire in winter, but that's all. It warms the kitchen, and the cat likes to sit in the top oven." "It's an unsightly thing," said Aunt Sylvia, passing through. "I should have removed it." "I like it," protested Polly. "You would," said Frederick. "Was my room a maid's room once?" Polly asked. "What odd things you say," said her aunt with a vexed little laugh. "I suppose it may have been in the past." "It's a very nice room," added Polly politely. Aunt Sylvia looked at the rain which was falling steadily outside. "What a nuisance, this weather. I hope you children can find something to occupy you indoors today. Frederick, what can you suggest?" He hunched himself over the pan he was scouring and didn't reply. "Aren't there some card games somewhere?" Polly felt that Aunt Sylvia was being mean to him. "I know," she exclaimed. "You could do an experiment for us." "Be careful then, won't you, Frederick?" said his mother, and went out again. "Oh, please do. I should so love to watch one," begged Polly. "Only the seniors are allowed in the lab at school." "I'll have to make my bed first. We'll do ours at the same time." Frederick's room impressed them all with its array of test tubes and neatly labeled bottles. NaCl, Chem, dilute. Okay, it's a bunch of chemical names, read Polly. "What's dilute? It's on lots of them," said Jennifer. "It means diluted," said Frederick patiently. "Chemists can't sell children concentrated acids. Lots of things are difficult to get. The dentist gave me my mercury." "The dentist?" "They use it in fillings. Quicksilver is another name for it." He showed it to them and they passed it around, exclaiming with delight at its heaviness and the way it didn't wet the sides of the bottle. Frederick began to enjoy himself. "Watch," he said, dropping a pinch of white powder into a beaker of water and stirring it up. The water turned a pretty blue. Is it magic?" asked Hugh. "Anhydrous copper sulfate becoming hydrated," he replied, and left Hugh certain that it was indeed magic. "Potassium permanganate," he said, putting dark crystals into another beaker and slowly adding water. Then he heated the beaker over a Bunsen burner, and beautiful streams of purple color curled hither and thither in the water. "Convection currents." "Make an explosion," suggested Polly. "Oh, good, and since the others have gone—" "Oh, oops! Make an explosion!" exclaimed Polly. He prepared a test tube of hydrogen and held a lit and match inside. The flame was sucked into the tube with a squeaky pop. That wasn't very loud, said Jennifer. Right, thought Frederick. Reaching into a cupboard, he found an empty can with holes punched into the bottom and lid. This will be a bit louder, he murmured, placing the can with the bottom hole just over the Bunsen burner and switching the gas on. First, we fill the can with gas. He switched off and placed the can on the tripod. Then, we light the gas. He applied a match to the hole in the lid and made the can look like a large, eccentric nightlight. His audience watched, fascinated. The gas gets used up as the flame burns, until eventually, he paused, and something in his expression made Polly feel nervous. The flame goes inside the can to find out what's happening. The flame vanished, and with a colossal bang, the lid of the can blew off and hit the ceiling. "Frederick, you fiend!" said Polly. Michael and Jennifer had been rendered speechless. "Number 3 doesn't like bangs," remarked Hugh, and he went out, cradling the bear against his shoulder. Frederick retrieved the lid of his can and said he would prepare oxygen next. The 2 younger ones became bored while this was going on, and they discovered at the end of the experiment playing with baubles of mercury on the windowsill. "That's very naughty," said Frederick angrily. "You'll get it dirty, and it's very difficult to clean, and you've probably lost some, and also it's extremely poisonous." He coaxed the drops into one and slid it back into the bottle. "Mercury poisoning makes your mouth go all green, and you smell terrible," said Polly dreamily. "How do you know?" Frederick didn't believe it. "I once overheard 2 women talking on a bus." "Just the kind of thing you would overhear," he said, he said it quite nicely, and Polly decided not to feel insulted. Next, he mixed metal fillings with some pale yellow powder. "Is that sherbet?" asked Michael hopefully. "No, sulfur," said Frederick, heating the mixture. "It's all gone black and nasty," said Jennifer. Frederick removed it from the heat and poured a little acid on top. A terrible smell filled the room. "Pooh!" gasped Michael. "Bad eggs!" "I'm choking!" exclaimed Jennifer, and the 2 of them decided they'd had enough of the chemistry. "Hydrogen sulfide," said Frederick smugly, closing the door behind them and opening the window. Polly went and hung out while he fanned the air busily. "You did that to get rid of them," she accused suddenly. Frederick grinned. "It worked, didn't it?" "You're a cunning old magician." A thought struck her. "Did you want to get rid of me, too?" "No," said Frederick truthfully. "I don't mind you." "Let's make a poisonous gas, can we?" "Carbon dioxide." "Isn't there something more poisonous than that?" "Sulfur dioxide. We can make that." "Oh, good. And since the others have gone, I could have a little sniff of it, couldn't I?" "I think it would be better if you didn't. Why do you want to?" "Oh, it would be so much fun. Please, just a little sniff." When he had made the gas, he relented, and feeling he mustn't be outdone by Polly, he had a sniff, too. It made their eyes run and caught at the backs of their throats. "Like matches," said Polly. "Exactly." "What are you going to do with the rest of it?" "Put it out of the window. I think we'd better clean up now." "Are you ever called anything for short? Frederick is such a mouthful." Polly began to help. "Fred," Polly giggled. "Yes, it doesn't really suit you. What did I call you when you were little?" "Something silly, I expect." He scraped at the remains of the hydrogen sulfide experiment. Thinking about being called Fred had made him worse. But Polly looked so downcast that he summoned up a small grin to soften her remark. "Something like Duff," she was encouraged to muse. "No, I know, Fluff, because your hair was." "Well, it isn't now." He passed a hand over his smooth head. "And if you're going to call me that, please don't do it when anyone else can hear." "All right, Fluff," said Polly meekly. When they had put everything away, she went up to her room to write letters home. "Is Mother getting better?" she asked her father. "I dreamed she was dead. It was horrid." After a moment, she added, "But it wasn't her, really." A floorboard creaked behind her, and she put her hand quickly over what she had written before she turned around. But nobody was reading the letter over her shoulder. There was nobody there. She considered the last 2 sentences and erased them. Her father wouldn't understand. She shivered. This room was really too cold to sit in for long. Nice, though. It was not to share with Jennifer for once. Gathering up her writing materials, she took them downstairs, where she finished the letter to her father and wrote a long, cheerful one to her mother. It had stopped raining after lunch. She discovered from Aunt Sylvia that the nearest mailbox was in the village, and the younger ones said they would come help her, since they had discovered that the village shop sold candy. "You'll go too, won't you, Frederick?" said his mother firmly. He might have gone anyway, but he disliked being managed. Before they left, Polly got Michael and Jennifer on their own for a moment upstairs. "Give Frederick some of your candy, won't you? He doesn't get any spending money." "Why not?" "I suppose it's because they're very strict with him or something." Frederick was astonished by the number of offerings he received on the way back from the village. No, I can't take the last one," he protested to Jennifer. "Oh, please do," she urged nobly, and wore a happily mated expression afterwards. She was overdoing it, Polly feared. "Carry number 3 for me," instructed Hugh presently, handing him over. "No," said Polly, giving him back. "If you bring him out, you must look after him." "I'm tired." He wilted so that the bear dragged in the dust. "You're wearing his feet out. Don't be so cruel," said Polly. He lifted him up. "Tell us a story." "Oh, yes, tell us a story," exclaimed Michael and Jennifer. "Not now," said Polly. "Oh, please do." "I can't. It would be boring for Frederick." "No, it wouldn't," he said truthfully. He wanted to see what kind of story she told. "Well, all right. After all, you don't have to listen." She thought for a few moments, then, with a sudden inspiration, began. "Once, a long while ago, a family lived in Frederick's house with one son and one daughter, and the daughter met a handsome young man and fell in love with him, but her parents did not like him because he was poor. When he asked if he could marry her, they were very angry and said she wasn't to see him any more. So she ran away with him, and the parents were so angry they disinherited her. That means they said she wasn't their daughter anymore, and her brother was very angry too." "Why? It had nothing to do with them," said Jennifer. "Don't interrupt. Where was I? Oh, yes. Well, they didn't care. They got married, and she had a baby, a girl called Sarah." As they reached the gate, she was saying, "And he went out of the kitchen. Look, we're home." "And then?" said Frederick. "Well, she took the drink out to Thugden, and this time he didn't growl or anything." "To be continued," she finished grandly. "What a funny place to stop. Go on," said Frederick. "No, I can't until I've made up some more." "You made that up just now?" Jennifer observed. "I can't do any more today," reiterated Polly, and felt slightly guilty at her evasion of the truth. All right, that was chapter 3. Polly tells a story. Woo! Let's go in there. That one was a bit, those chapters in the books that, it's like a filler. Okay, we're going here, we're playing with chemicals. And then at the very end, they get back into like the heat of the moment. That was that chapter 3. I think starting now, chapter 4, we're going to start getting some greasy details on what happened in that house, who lived there, all these things, what's going on. Tomorrow's chapter is called A Sound of Crying, just like the book. So I'm excited to see what happens. It's exciting to read a book, like a chapter a day, because it builds up the hype in the morning. You're like, oh yeah, what else am I going to read? Alright, so that was my outdoor version of A Sound of Crying. An audiobook of a forgotten book read by gnomes. That's me. I was going to take my glasses off, but good lord, is it sunny out today. It's going to be about plus 14. Anyways, happy Friday to everybody. Enjoy your day. Live it up. Positive vibes. Let's meet back up tomorrow for chapter 4. Shit's going to get real. Bye.